Ellie Williams is, at the moment, one of my favorite video game characters. In fact, she's definitely my favorite. As a 12-year-old who watched a playthrough of The Last of Us, the second it released, I instantly loved the character from the start. She was extremely capable and put up a fight when she needed to. She also brought humor and levity to the world that she was stuck in.
Oh, I'm sure your friend will be missing this tonight. It's light on the reading, but it's got some interesting photos.
Now, Ellie, that ain't for kids.
Whoa! How the hell would he even walk around with that thing?
Get rid of that.
Well, hold your horses. I want to see what all the fuss is about. Oh, why are these all stuck together? I'm just fucking with you. Bye-bye, dude.
Watching her grow into a brutal killer gave darkness to her, but also gave her a balance between being humane and defending herself. Now, when I first played The Last of Us in 2015, I was Ellie's age, giving me a lot to relate to Ellie. Through extremely well-written scenes, we saw how harsh the world is, and how we should savor every moment we have with our loved ones, because you never know when someone could bite the bullet, or get bitten. She also made me appreciate my life through one of my favorite scenes in gaming history.
Is this really all they had to worry about? Boys? Movies? Deciding which shirt goes with which skirt? It's bizarre.
Get up. We're leaving.
And if I say no?
Do you even realize what your life means? Huh? Running off like that, putting yourself at risk? It's pretty goddamn stupid.
Well, I guess we're both disappointed with each other then.
What do you want from me?
Admit that you wanted to get rid of me the whole time.
Tommy knows this area.
Oh,
better
fuck
than...
that.
Well, I'm sorry. I trust him better than I trust myself.
Stop with the bullshit. What are you so afraid of? That I'm gonna end up like Sam? I can't get infected. I can take care of myself.
How many close calls have we had?
Well, we seem to be doing all right so far.
And now you'll be doing even better with Tommy.
I'm not her, you know.
What?
Maria told me about Sarah.
Ellie?
And
You are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel. But I have lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you. So don't tell me that I would be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared.
You're right. You're not my daughter. And I sure as hell ain't your dad. And we are going our separate ways.
Get it together. We're not alone.
I got two walking in.
There's more inside already.
Ellie also had an amazing daughter-father relationship with Joel, creating some connection to us as the player, along with Joel. Another huge characteristic of Ellie that drove the whole first game was her immunity, that was supposed to be the so-called cure the Fireflies were going to make. Fortunately, Joel stopped that, and then told Ellie that the Fireflies stopped looking for a cure, and lied to her about it. Eventually, that caused the relationship to drain slowly, but, I mean, it's good that she lived. Now, obviously, I've only really talked about the first game, Ellie. Ellie is older and more mature. She also becomes eaten up by blind hatred and slowly destroys herself, becoming the monster she fears she'd become. At the start of the game, we see her relationship with her girlfriend Dina. She seems pretty happy until Joel gets clubbed to death, and her happiness is destroyed, which I'm not going to traumatize you guys with. If you want to see my reaction and my thoughts about that scene, go watch my Grounded playthrough, because I definitely will give you some piece of thoughts I had about that scene. Unlike Abby and Joel, shown in both games, Ellie has a much softer side when it comes to brutally murdering people. It takes a toll on her. She's a lot more sympathetic towards her enemies, and feels a sense of guilt. Ellie through the second game goes on a rage-fueled revenge story, eventually coming to her senses, remembering her last conversation with Joel, which stops her from continuing the cycle of violence. Now, as a person who loves Ellie, I do sort of agree with the fact that she wouldn't kill Abby. I sort of don't believe, there's about 50% of me that believes that she would leave the farm, but the 50% of me thinks that even if she were to go to Santa Barbara, she wouldn't kill Abby, she would let her go. And while I do think that, the reason being is because she's a much better person than Joel and Abby is. She's willing to make it better of herself and come to full term that killing Abby won't bring back Joel. And I think Abby and Joel just couldn't cope with loss, and she was able to and become a better person.
Go. Just take him.
As a person who loves Ellie, I absolutely want a story about her in part 3. Her mainly. No Abby. I want maybe a story about Dina and JJ. That would be my ideal story. My first idea I thought about for the third game is JJ as a 10-year-old and him and Ellie learning to bond. I don't exactly know where this story would go, but something along those lines would be really great for me. Or we just redeem Ellie, because obviously Ellie didn't really get too much of a redemption arc this game. Like Abby did. Abby got a huge redemption arc, whereas Ellie didn't really get that much great character development. She got character development, and it wasn't great character development. It was good it was well-written character development. It was just, she like turned into a monster throughout the game, and it'd be nice to see her become more human again. It kind of sort of like Joel did in the first game. Something I really, really want to see with Ellie, and I hope Naughty Dog explores that, because I don't know where it's going. I mean, obviously, based on the sheer fact that Abby lived, that they're gonna make a third game about Abby too. Abby's somehow gonna be in there. I know it. I sort of don't want her to be in this third game. I want it to be all about Ellie. I know it's a little selfish of me, but I mean, my personal opinion about Abby is I love the character, but I don't want another game about her. A DLC, yes, but I want the third game to be about Ellie, and only Ellie, and or someone that's on Ellie's side, like JJ and Ellie. Maybe you play as Ellie and you play as JJ. That'd be really cool. But I don't want. I just want it to be about Ellie. I don't think the Fireflies need to really be in it. I meant, let's face it. If she's going back to make a cure, Abby's gonna be in the game, because she's the Fireflies. And I just, I'm gonna be honest. I just want the game to be about Ellie and her redeeming herself somehow through some story. I don't know what that'll be. I mean, they're in a pretty happy place in Jackson, but something could happen to Jackson. Maybe there's a war between Jackson or something amongst those lines. I'm just coming up with these in my head as I'm thinking. But it would be really cool if they made it more about Jackson. Because I really thought this game was going to be more about Jackson and something big happens to Jackson rather than something big happens to Joel and Ellie. And then we see Ellie go on a killing spree. It would be nice to get to know Jackson a lot more along with JJ. And Yes, Jackson's the town. I'm talking about the town. It would be cool to do like a war story with Jackson and Ellie and JJ and Dina try to escape. Something happens to Dina or something. I don't want Dina to die, but I mean, obviously, it would be really realistic if one of them were gonna die. So it would be a cool story to go through. That's what I want. I don't want Abby anymore. I'm sorry, Naughty Dog. I know. I'm sorry, Neil Druckmann. I don't really want another game about Abby. But that's all I gotta say about Ellie. I love Ellie. She's one of my favorite characters. I can't wait for her. I hope they come with The Last of Us Part 3 or working on that next because it's gonna be a while. Either that or I hope Naughty Dog works on a new IP. Either one. I don't see him making another Uncharted game. Or Crash Bandicoot. Or Jak and Daxter. I see him focusing probably on The Last of Us or a new IP. That's what I see. Anyways, that concludes everything. Goodbye. Adios. Toodles.
Sweet Jesus.
Doctor? What are you doing in here? I won't let you take her. Don't come any closer.